Hi, YouTube.
Welcome back, and is this your first time here? Welcome to our channel. We are going to do another edition of
Fact or Fiction Friday.
Fridays. Yes, so this is our storytelling. We're going to basically tell a short story, and it's up to you guys to decide whether it is true or false, or fact or fiction. So today's story is about a royal family and the drama that being royal seems to attract, especially with things going on in the world today in the news of the royal family. But this is a different royal family. This is a story of a young boy who was the son of a king. The kingdom was large, very diverse, and the young boy, of course, was the heir to the throne. He was the only child of the king. He grew up in a real strict environment and spent a lot of time with his mom, and he could never go out alone. He always had to have someone with him wherever he went in the kingdom to keep an eye on him and make sure he was safe. His dad began to teach him about the kingdom and make sure that, one day he knew what he was going to be ruling over one day. And his dad was making sure he was prepared as he was still a young boy.
Yep. So before the king had a son, his brother to the king was up for the throne. Well, the king ended up having a son and messed it all up. So the uncle wasn't happy about that. But the nephew liked the uncle, and he always was trying to be around the uncle. So everywhere he went, he tried to go around with him. So nephew did have a best friend, which was a girl. It wasn't a big deal then because little kids, they just play along with each other. Mm-hmm. So he had a friend, she was a girl, and one day the uncle tricked the kids into a dangerous situation. The kids survived thanks to the watchful eye of the guy. His dad always made sure watched them. The kid always had eyes on him, because he was royal. He was important. So the dad had somebody watching him. The uncle decided he wanted to get rid of the boy for good and devised a plan to the next time to try to steal the throne.
Mm-hmm. So the uncle devised his plan, as he said. The uncle enlisted a group of hunters to help him. Now, these hunters were quite upset with the king anyway, because there were certain restrictions put on hunting at that time. They were given a very small area to hunt, and so the hunters were hungry. They weren't really able to get food. So in the plan he set up for the young heir, the young boy, to get ran over. That was the plan. So the plan, is underway. The king gets notified that his son's in danger, and he arrives into the area where he was told his son was. He succeeds in saving his son, but he finds himself in a bad situation. And at that point, the only person that could save him was his brother. His brother doesn't help him, and then he instead causes him to die. So the king is dead at this point. He tells his nephew that this was all his fault. You shouldn't have been over here. Your dad was coming looking for you, and that he should flee because the townspeople are going to be upset when they find out the king's dead. And he convinces him to leave the kingdom and to never return. The boy flees. He leaves the kingdom. The hunters are then waiting for him in the wilderness. So now he killed the king, and now he's trying to kill the heir to the throne. And so as the boy is fleeing, the hunters catch up with him, and he ends up getting away. And so instead of the hunters, keep looking for him, they let him go, and they figure he's a young boy, so he'll die in the wilderness, and we'll just say that we killed him, and we'll just go on back to where we came from.
Yep. So he's still young at this point, but he's in the wilderness all alone, like she said. He goes to sleep, and then the next day, some hippies just walking around. they stumble upon him, and they think he's dead, but he's not. So they pick him up, carry him away, try to give him some help. He wakes up and he's sad, but they just continue to try to cheer him up, and they try to teach him to be, just live free, live happy, don't care about things, don't just ponder on the small stuff, don't stress about life, I guess. So they also teach him how to be a vegetarian for some reason.
Because they were vegetarians.
Yeah, they're vegetarians, but
Yeah.
I guess they lived out in the wilderness. They just, didn't want to go to the store, I guess. I don't know. So, this is all new to him anyway. So he quickly adapts to that life outside the kingdom, and these two guys becomes his good friends.
Yeah. So when he grows up, he became large and strong. And again, we told you, he was with these two hippie guys. And he then began to look after them because, he is, a big guy, and he starts to fight off any threats. Anybody that tries to mess with him, he just protects them now. So one day, a woman finds their camp, and he sees her as a threat, like, why are you coming where we live? You shouldn't be here. And he starts to fight with her, and then he realizes that he recognizes her, and she is the old friend that he had from his childhood. Like we told you, he had a female best friend as a kid, and of course, being from the kingdom that he's from, she thought he was dead. And she starts to tell him what life is like now that he's been gone all these years and his father's dead. The kingdom is under his uncle's rule. That's the whole plan was. Now he's in charge, the uncle. She's telling him that the kingdom is in ruin, that no one is getting along. The hunters have now, taken over the land, and it's not safe. The townspeople are practically starving, and so she urges him to come back, but he refuses. And he quickly realizes that he loves her, but he doesn't go back to the kingdom with her.
All right, so you know how every kingdom has that old person. So the elder of the kingdom finds out that the boy, now a young man, is alive. So he goes out and finds him, and he gives him a speech, and basically tells him he needs to get over the past and get on with the future, get on with his life. Life goes on. So this encounter with his father's spirit later on convinces him to go ahead and return. So he makes a journey back and confronts his uncle, who thought he was dead all this time. During the confrontation, his uncle reveals to him that he was the one who killed the king. In a rage of hearing the truth, he fights his uncle, and he eventually takes over the throne. And his uncle falls down and gets hurt. He leaves him there. Well, the hunters, who originally was supposed to kill the kid earlier in his life, found out what happened. Realized that the new king, the uncle, was using them this whole time. So they go off and they basically deal with him for the king. And that's that. He's dead, I guess.
Yeah, with his uncle dead, he takes his rightful place as the king. He goes ahead and marries his childhood friend that, discovered that he was alive. And he restores the kingdom back to how it should have been this whole time. And, luckily for him, when he was a kid, his daddy told him, and taught him what that meant. And, he ends up having 2 children of his own. And that's our story. All right.
So
what do you guys think about this one? This Fact or Fiction Friday. Do you think it's fact, or do you think this story was fiction?
Yep. Give you some hints and some clues.
Go ahead and make your guess.
Yep.
What you think.
Yep. Comment below what you think. Ready?
Yep.
All right. This story is fiction. In fact, the story is the infamous Lion King from Disney.
Yeah.
It was a big part of our childhood.
Mm-hmm.
So big that when they actually made the
remake,
we actually went out there. We were beating the kids into the theater because they would want to watch. Like, oh, get out of my way.
We definitely went to go see the remake, the live version in theater. We'll put on the screen who wrote this story for Disney, because I didn't put that in my notes, but that's important to give credit for, who wrote this story. But we will also say that the origin of the story ranges. So some people, it says it came from a Shakespeare story, and some people said it was an old African tale. So Disney sometimes gets stories that were already, people already knew in different parts of the world, and then they make it a Disney movie. So that's kind of where the Lion King came from. So yeah, this one has a long history behind it. And we hope you guys enjoyed it. And like I said, I'll have this guy put on there, who made it for Disney, their name, because this is not our story. So.
All right, guys. Well, like, share, and subscribe. I'll see you on the next one. Well, I guess we will.
Yes, I'll be here.
Yep.